And let me introduce Colonel Chris Perkins. He is the Republican challenger for the Virginia 11th District Congressional seat. Chris attended Franklin and Marshall College in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where he earned a BA in English in 1978. Chris is a distinguished honors graduate of the United States Naval War College, where he was awarded a master's degree in national security affairs and holds a second master's degree in strategic studies after attending the National War College in Washington, D.C. Before enlisting in military service, Chris spent 4 years in the commercial fishing industry in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. In 1981, Chris enlisted in the Army, and after attending Officer Candidate School and the Airborne School, he became a second lieutenant in the infantry. After volunteering for Ranger and Special Forces training, Chris spent most of his career in special operations. Chris's career as a Green Beret included command of multiple Special Forces A-teams and operational missions in Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. His operational assignments culminated with command of a Special Forces battalion of over 600 men in service during multiple tours in a military liaison to Congress, including service as the Director of Legislative Affairs for the United States Special Operations Command. While serving in his country, Chris received numerous honors, including the Distinguished Flying Cross for his role in the rescue attempt of a drowned air crew during Operation Desert Storm. Chris and his wife Petra moved to the 11th District in 1991 to raise their 2 children. Their daughter Alex is a Virginia Tech graduate, and their son Nick recently graduated from West Point. After retiring from the Army as a full colonel in 2006, Chris was hired by the Coast Guard to create a quick reaction force to secure our nation's coastline. He is currently self-employed as a national security consultant. Welcome, Colonel Chris Perkins.
Wow, who writes this stuff? You gotta see what leaves your staff headquarters there, but that pretty much completes my portion. So where do you go from there? You tell folks a little bit about you, and then you tell them why you're running here. What that doesn't say is that I had a fun youth, if you will. As you mentioned, I was a Green Beret for a bunch of years, running around some godforsaken places in the world, doing some interesting stuff. Actually was in the gentleman from the Rotary Club. I was actually standing in that school in Sierra Leone that he referred to in worse days. It was a fun life, but I left that life or that job, and as he mentioned, I took a different job as a battalion commander, 600 people, 14 different divisions, a motor pool that FedEx would be envious of, if you would. And it was a different job. I had different responsibilities. I had a different focal point. My job there was to facilitate those operators, such as the kind that went and got bin Laden and Osama and Saddam Hussein. It wasn't to do those anymore. It was a completely different job. And I tell you, the reason I tell you that is that it tells who I am. I am a roles and missions kind of guy. You just had 3 elected officials up here who are doing a great job taking care of the constituents of their district at the local level. I am running for federal office. So the other day I was up in Falls Church at the chamber there, and I had the opportunity to be on the stage with my opponent. And I was struck by the fact that he, throughout the entire discussion, focused on the 16 years that he was at the local level. And he did some great stuff. And if you go to his website, he has some wonderful accolades for all those things that he deserves to have, that he earned. And it was convenient for him to stick to that, because it was less convenient to talk about what his track record has been on the Hill. He has to explain, it's less convenient to explain how we voted for the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act when most of the businesses, at least the majority of them, were against that. It's less convenient to explain why he would not just vote for, but actually sponsor legislation that would make it harder to do offshore drilling and increase our energy resources. And then the hardest one of all was that it would be less convenient to have to explain why he voted for these defense cuts that are coming down the pike. Folks, we are going to be hit second hardest only to the Hampton roads in any district in America with these defense cuts. It's less convenient to do that. So when we finally got into the Q&A, and I understand there won't be a Q&A here, and I'd be glad to talk to everybody afterwards, he started to blame the Republican Party for it. He said, this is the Republicans' fault. And he said he was forced into this. I pointed out in the Q&A that this was actually not a partisan vote, that Mr. Moran had voted differently, that actually 4 of the Republicans in the Virginia delegation had voted differently. And so I said, no one holds your arm behind you. I mean, no one forces you to vote when you're on Capitol Hill. You have to vote the way your constituents want, the way you represent folks. So that's really what this is all about. I am a roles and missions guy because I do not believe that I'm going to Congress to solve your local problems. I can't do that. Mr. Harity there, he will be addressing some of your local problems like the paving the streets and getting the congestion and so forth. I'm going up there to solve regulatory reform problems, tax reform problems, things like that. Right? So this is why I'm trying to get out here and tell folks, this is about going to Congress, standing up for your constituents, addressing problems head on at the national level, and getting things done. And that's what it's all about, because I'm not seeing that done. My mother said, why would you go from a profession that has 92% public approval rating to one that has less than 9? And I said, Mom, because it doesn't go away. You have got to pull your head out of the sand, address the problems head on, and deal with it. And so the pledge I make to everyone here tonight, and I hope I will get to speak to you afterwards, is that I will never, ever put party ahead of the people that elect me for Congress. You have my word on that. For those that, when you talked about the question that you would ask, how do you compromise? When you can sit down with Kurds and Iraqis and bring them to the table and make them agree, which we did, that's a pretty good compromise. I'm willing to do that. So anyway, I've rambled a little bit here, but I want to tell you I am excited to be here today. I really am interested in this business community of yours, and I look forward to chatting afterwards. Thanks very much.